Welcome to Pep Talks. I am not your host, Eddie Pepitone, but you know who I am. And you motherfuckers should be thankful and grateful because Eddie Pepitone, your hero, your mentor, your guru, is enjoying himself on the road. He's doing 16 dates on the road. I think he's doing 14 dates in like 16 days, something very intense. Eddie Pepitone, this grown man, in the back third of his life, is acting out the dream of a 27-year-old. So you be thankful and grateful, you people at home. You, as he affectionately refers to you, you fucking huddled masses, that today there is a Pep Talks that's on the air. And we maybe we'll get a call from Eddie Pepitone, but I don't think so today. And I'm Stephen Lally. You know me, I hope. I'm the guy who fills the silence with sound when Eddie needs somebody to talk and fill that. And in the meantime, I'm joined here today by two very interesting friends of mine who are very happy to be here, and it's nice to make people happy. And my first guest is an old friend of mine. Probably we have known each other, I'm going to say 2003. Is that, would you say?
0304.
Like 0304.
Yeah.
And he's a comic, he's a DJ, he's a improviser, he's a writer, and just an all-around badass motherfucker, and that is Cordell Pace. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Steve, everybody, the producers, Pep. I know you're not here, man, but it's good to be in studio finally and having a good time, man, enjoying it, man.
You're a huge Pepitone fan.
I am, man. All the way back to his open mic days and out here in L.A.,
Oh,
man.
shit.
All the way up
Oh,
through
tell
his,
us about that. I don't think that would be interesting to these people.
Well, I mean, hey, the open mics over there on what was the open? I forgot the open mic that was right there on Vine
Cordell,
Street.
don't drop this now.
No,
he wasn't performing at the fucking Bliss Cafe.
Yeah, Bliss Cafe.
He
there
wasn't
it is.
performing at
That's
the...
where I met him. He lived above the Bliss
Right,
Cafe.
but he wasn't performing at the Bliss Cafe. He was performing at the M Bar around the corner where the successful comics performed. We were performing at the Bliss Cafe.
We were, but he
would pop in.
He would grace us with his presence.
Right.
Of lunacy every now and then.
Right.
And that's where I ran into him first.
Let me correct Cordell's... Let me not correct it, but say, here's my memory.
Okay.
Eddie Pep, around the corner from the Bliss Cafe,
on
which
Vine Street
was
in LA.
Was the, let's just call it the Hollywood Black Open Mic, because it's where all the black comics would go to do, right? Stage time.
At the M Bar?
No, at the Bliss.
Oh, at the Bliss.
Bliss.
Yeah. Oh, it was
And
predominantly, right.
Right,
It
and
was
the
predominantly.
white
Yeah.
comics, the alternative white comics,
Right.
like the David Cross crowd,
Right.
who I fucking hate, by the way,
Well,
it's all a matter of taste,
Right.
But they would hang out and stroke each other about The Office on NBC over at the fucking M Bar, which was literally next door to the Bliss Cafe.
Yeah, like 3-4 doors down.
I never saw one of those alternative comics come into the M Bar except Eddie fucking Pepitone.
Right.
Eddie Pepitone was the only one who poked his head in there and would watch just out of sheer amusement and curiosity, us. And I was on stage, and he poked his head in once, and I went, holy shit, there's somebody I really admire, like...
Well, you're right. I think, let me clean it up a little bit. He would pop in and get up every now and then, and it was predominantly a brown and black comics in there, but the white comics showed up too, and you know they did their thing. So yes, Lolly, he braved it and got up and did his thing. So, but anyway, that's why I ran. Long story short, that's why I first saw Pep, and then followed him all the way up to Bitter Buddha and Ruins, and bam, look. Now we're in studio here, man.
I know, man. It's wild.
It's wild.
So that leads me to my next guest, which is a little bit more of a mystery to me because I haven't known as long as he asthmatically inhales. This guy is also a very multi-talented fella. Comic, host, writer, sort of Renaissance man to a certain extent, and creator of sort of like all the underground art that promotes. He's literally like the R. Crumb of art promotion and publicity for like the underground Hollywood scene now, since I've known him at least. Creates all the posters for the Comedy Dojo. Very, very cool dude. Very smart guy. Mr. Bahmani.
Hey, how's it going? I'm just trying to survive and stay alive so I can tell these dick jokes. That's what I'm just trying to do like everybody else. You know, you just go from one thing to another thing to another thing, and it's like you pick up one instrument, pick up another instrument, and you just keep moving forward. I wish I had something funnier to say, and I wish I knew Eddie Pepitone. I just met you. It was a Dojo show.
Is that where? No. We met at the Dojo, but we met not at a show. I met you through the girl whose podcast I did.
Rebecca Rush.
Yes, yeah.
Rebecca Rush.
She came on. She was on here.
Oh, okay.
By the way, she was one of our guests, and then I went on hers, and I met you there with her.
Okay.
And then we stayed in touch and did a show together with Eddie in Brazil. And
Oh yeah,
we did that.
That was nuts.
That was nuts. Yeah,
the Dojo shows get just
that was one of them. There were probably let me just. Sorry to cut you off.
squirrel.
There were probably about 15 people there, 15 audience members, and that would have been a fairly well populated Dojo show. That was a big time, heavy audience Dojo for the Dojo.
They feel it. The Dojo at times feels like it's like the Comedy Store at 2:00 in the morning, and all that's missing is Don Barris.
Except it's 8 o'clock at night.
Yes, it's 8:00 at night, and then all of a sudden you got Erica Rhodes followed by Holtzman, and then Jay London. It just ran just all sorts of it's like a random mix of just chaos, you know.
Yeah, and the Dojo's in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. So you get all the characters coming in and out, on and off the stage.
Well, it's co-founded by Sam Tripoli, so you get a lot of his genius, wild,
Insanity.
crazy. Yeah, so a lot of the people who want to, from the store who want to get stage time,
Right.
and they drop in and they kind of have their, they can just, Eleanor Kerrigan can just drop in and do a spot. And
Sam's the one that got me in the Dojo in the first
right.
place.
Oh, tell that story, Al.
So I was doing dishes at Flappers. Because I have to pay bills.
Somebody's got
to
do the dishes.
These are the kind of people we bring on the show for you. We want you to understand the underbelly
The grind.
of this business.
Oh, there's
people.
a lot of grime.
There's a lot of underbelly. This is the former dishwasher of the Flappers Comedy Club establishment.
And at the same time, I was co-running a comedy show at the store and a podcast at the store while doing dishes for Flappers.
See, it all comes
Renaissance
full circle.
man. Renaissance man.
And Sam was like, shit, you're actually working. Look, we could use you at the Dojo. Come by sometime. And next thing you know, I'm still there 2 years later.
Hey.
Not doing dishes.
Right.
No, I'm not touching.
But doing well.
Doing well.
Doing well, man. The Dojo.
Doing better.
Better.
Doing better.
Better than dishes.
Is that better grammar? Doing better?
So
whatever.
yeah, so I don't know how much the audience really understand about this LA or big city grind.
Yeah.
But really, the compensation is people letting you do it. Like people actually are letting you do stand up,
Right.
Or say inviting you places to
That's
do
currency.
it. And they're not saying to you, you got to have 10 people who are going to pay at the door, or I can't give you. You're going to get 3 minutes.
Right.
So beyond that, you're really a successful comic if that's happening.
Yeah, stage time is currency.
It's current.
If they let you up and and get you them inviting you is even that much better. It's like, oh, okay, yes,
Right.
As opposed to just showing up and asking. They're like, well, just come on down. We'll put you up.
I wonder
that phrase is great. We'll put you up.
We'll put you up. You know what?
you up.
Here's the most fucked up thing. It's gotten weirder. In some ways, it's gotten easier on the road because there's all these mom and pop things that are popping up.
Yeah.
And these comics are booking these sort of like beatnik type shows.
Yeah.
And so you can make $250 of your headliner and go in. But in LA, it's harder because you can't get up. You can't get invited to places as much because there's so many comics.
Yeah.
So because the audience have all become comics.
Right, but at the same time, it's, all you need is pretty much a mic, a stage, maybe a couple lights, and you got a show. Simple as that. I've seen shows start up in backyards.
Yeah.
Mic that I go to a lot in LA, which is probably one of the wildest places, is the Garage Mic behind a Food for Less.
I've heard about that.
There was a fire there also, not in the garage, but some hobo put a fire in that alleyway while the mic was going on.
Well, yeah, that
Random
sounds about right.
Police, Zydeco music being played in the background. It's strange.
There was a club in downtown called the Downtown Comedy Club. Do you remember that? It was,
of course. That
right,
was
Downtown Comedy Club was there for
Garrett
about,
Morris.
Yes, he was the host. But the other guy, I forget, Kevin something owned it.
Okay.
And I remember I had written for Cat, and so I had a little. I had a little something I could throw around that I couldn't
weight.
That I never had before. And man, what an asshole I was. So I went down there and I had a great set. Ramona Stevens was hosting.
Ramona.
So that I got invited.
Yeah.
And she gave me a great spot. I had a great set. And when I came off, the owner said, You can come down here whenever you want and perform whenever you want. And this is how much of a fucking immature asshole I was. I said to him, he was kind of a dick, but I was a bigger dick because I said, listen, man, I need you to put me on a poster and give me feature me so I can, let people know and advertise when I'm going to be. I don't want to. Yeah. And I was asking for too much. I should have just taken him up on it and
of course
used it. But instead I was...
that takes a lot of balls to say, I need to be on a poster.
You know what? It's
that's why I make my own.
You actually said it?
I said, I don't know if I said it exactly like that.
No, but I love
said
it.
I said it like... If you need to feature me and let me know when I'm here so I can advertise, but really it was an ego thing. I wanted
it's
to be
an ego thing.
But I also wanted to be able to let people know. But
course.
I wanted to let people know.
Of course.
So
Instead of just taking, I get it.
Instead of just taking it and being grateful,
taking that stage time
and being grateful,
of course.
And by the way, that was before this zombie apocalypse of comedy exploded, where like
they said that about same thing in the 80s and the 90s. The zombie apocalypse of comedy.
Yeah, but there was an audience. See, the comics are becoming audience. They're not really being replaced by new audience. So you know what I'm saying? When you go to a show at the Dojo, there are like 25 comics,
right.
but there might be one. I mean, we have actually done a show where there was one guy.
Oh,
and 20.
I've done those before too.
Yeah,
that sounds very familiar.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
And it will always be like that.
That was a book show.
That's always going to be the open mic.
This is not open. This is not open mics.
Oh, okay.
These are booked. This is a booked.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and sometimes these book shows have a feel of an open mic. Is probably what you're trying. You know what I mean? Like it's like damn.
Whereas like 12 people on the same lineup and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the traditional feel. It's the workshop.
On the way over here,
yeah.
Al's talking about the Comedy Store in Westwood.
Yeah.
was like a renaissance. They could go up there and work out, and then
because they're real people.
There was real audience.
Hey, look, even if it's 4 or 5 real audience members, it is sometimes that is just enough to feel good about telling some jokes.
Note, I'm not old enough to be in Westwood, by the way. This is from another comic I was talking to, Argus Hamilton. So,
okay.
Thanks for pointing that out, Al.
I'm not that old. I'm not a Highlander.
No, we thought you were a 67-year-old guy with no gray hair.
Yeah,
just staying, you know.
Al looks good for his age. He's
the streaming movement has definitely exploded because you saying everybody's a comic now, and I think a lot of that has to do with where we're at with the access to comedy specials that are. First off, it's way too many comedy specials coming out. I mean, it seems like there's 2 or 3 every week via Netflix.
When Andy Warhol was talking about in the future, everyone will have 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
He left out the fact that will manifest in the form of comedy specials.
Well, we're definitely in that era right now, and so everybody, in their basement, everybody's coming out of the closet. There's a comic. There are comics. That are comics, and that's hey, look, that's good for the overall genre of stand-up comedy. But it definitely the blowback is that everybody's trying it and just not serious about it, and just getting up doing it. And hey, look, it's fine in a sense, but if you're out here really trying to make a living at it and make an impact, it can be a little muddled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very muddled and disheartening.
How do you feel about it, Al? Have you thought about?
I haven't.
What he's talking about?
I guess I dropped my last 2 specials on here. Shit, I just did a
is.
special right now. It's on Netflix, Disney Plus next week. Yeah,
See?
Just recorded
Disney
it right over
Plus?
here. Disney Plus.
And Apple Plus.
Yeah, You
2 or
can
3
catch
more,
me
right?
opening up for the Rock-afire Explosion at Chuck E. Cheese.
Eddie sold his special. It's coming out. You know who's distributing it?
No.
FEMA. The Federal Merchant Management Agency. It's titled "It's Not Comedy, It's Containment," and he goes up to the
Straight out of
Skirball
FEMA.
Center during the last fire, and he just keeps everybody in there. He says, if you go out, you might lose your life. I mean, I'm just fucking right. We joked about
that does sound like a great special, especially at
It is,
Skirball.
it
That's
is.
It's a great angle right there.
Thank you.
That's
I wrote
a good
that.
theater at Skirball. Shoot.
Yeah. He should use
I
it.
wrote that and sent it to Eddie.
Hopefully he's using it.
I think he forgets that I. So sometimes he'll mention it, and I go, "Do you remember?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right." But
he should open with that. He should on the road. I don't know what his
FEMA.
material is on the road.
In the
He should open with his
future,
FEMA.
people will have FEMA specials. It'll just be about keeping before people go forage for food.
Yeah.
In the future, in the dystopian future that's coming after the collapse.
Yeah.
It'll just be okay, people. I don't know. I did the Los Angeles Stand-Up Comedy Festival, which I don't know if you even are familiar with what that is.
I've heard.
Yeah, that felt like that felt like containment.
Yeah.
That felt like a scene out of a cross between a zombie movie and a David Lynch film. There were about 25 people in a 300-seat theater, and they were not all seated together.
Yes.
And
I saw the flyer for that festival.
how did that make you feel when you saw the flyer?
You know, when I
that?
saw the flyer,
You knew something was up.
I got sick to my stomach, and I immediately I had to put it down because I was getting nauseous, and I said to myself, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to that festival. I'm going to tell you that. But that's because it just looked very bootleggish. It just looked very, and I'm not trying to hate on it, but I got to be real.
Yeah.
And I've heard you talk about it. I know what you went through when you actually got up on stage and did it. So I'm not surprised.
It wasn't even that bad for me because I got good spots on the so I actually got prime real estate on that festival.
Okay.
I was taken care of.
Yeah.
And I made sure that I wasn't getting, you know, the comics would show up and there would be a list.
Okay.
And they would write the comic's name.
Yeah.
And then whenever you showed up, you were waiting to go on. And then the host, whose name I won't mention because I don't want to give free publicity to anyone.
Right.
The host was doing 15 to 20 minutes between the comics.
That sounds very LA host.
Oh, it was
No,
bad.
that infection is everywhere.
Yeah.
Every city has that one person. Like, oh, I can host a comedy show.
No,
I'll use
man.
that as my open mic.
That one person got hired for this. That one person
got
hired for that festival.
Okay.
And so there was a lot wrong. But I don't know. Why did I bring that up? Oh, because of the containment. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the festival where you say you showed up and they was like,
thank God
you came. I want to make sure we're talking about the right one because that's the one you said you had a slot. But you showed up and it was totally not. You were not ready. They were not ready for you at that time slot, right?
That's exactly.
They bounced you out, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I remember you talking about that.
So there
right.
was a So everybody got an email for the festival.
Yeah.
Here's when you go on,
Yeah.
and there's separate shows. Like there were separate shows.
Right. Okay.
And then when I showed up, my show was early. Thank God, I showed up early. Because
you'd be still waiting to go up now.
Yes, I'd still be waiting to go up right now. Thank you, Al. That's exactly right. There are
later.
still people.
8 weeks later.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm supposed to go up right now at the festival.
Yeah, I remember that now. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, the flyer. Yeah, everything about that seemed very, very EBT-ish.
So you started doing stand-up. When did you start? That was not a good segue, but
in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, man, in the late 90s, man, and I was doing improv and stand-up, and then I segued out here, and I did so much improv in Chicago, I kind of fed back a little bit on that and kind of faded away and just did more stand-up in LA and did the acting and then from there, man, just continued that and writing. And then about 7 years ago, I started DJing because I used to have long story short, I used to have a radio show at UCLA, an internet radio show where I just played music. And then I interviewed artists, and I did that for a few years, and it was a weekly show, 2 hours. But from that, I really got the love for DJing. I wasn't technically DJing on this weekly UCLA radio show. I was just playing music, but I got into the DJing of house music from there because I was playing house music, but I wasn't really technically DJing. So after the show ended, I went and started taking classes with a guy on Melrose who was a DJ, old school DJ from the early 80s, and he taught me how to house DJ, and he already knew I had a love for house music. So it was about a 2-year process, man, of learning and taking classes with him. And then from there, man, up until now, it's been I've been DJing and house music and club DJing. Not mobile DJing, not weddings and parties, but just club DJing. So
no bar mitzvahs.
No, I can't.
A couple of bat mitzvahs.
You know, I have a lot of respect for mobile DJs, man. It's a lot of work to be in that genre. But I'm a club DJ. But yeah, man, that's been. And I was telling you off mic that now that the DJing has kind of got going in my career and house music is doing well and growing. I'm kind of reshifting back and bringing kind of my stand-up career back up to par because I kind of just organically things couldn't really coexist together.
Right.
So now I'm kind of like getting back out there. I just joined the improv group, so I'm kind of getting the dust off the improv skills. And
long form or short form?
It'll be long form with a little bit of short form improv mixed in. There's an Orange County, where I live in Orange County, California. I joined a new improv group. It'll be 8 of us. and we're going to be starting doing shows in the top of 2020. But we'll do long form. I love long form because that's where you get to really do scenic work. For people that don't know improv, the long form is where 2 or 3 people come out on stage and you create a scene together and for a few minutes, and then 2 more people come out and do a new scene. So it'll be long with a little short.
Did you ever do any? Why am I thinking? I don't know if I'm thinking this, but did you do any improv with Nation of Improv?
I did. In Chicago, the Nation of Improv was...
So you know Dave from Chicago?
From Chicago, I know Dave, Ronnie Ray.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
that whole crew. Yeah, we met. I worked with them in Chicago. And then when I moved out here, well, actually, they moved first. I left the group, and then they came out here to L.A. as a group and continued to perform. I had already left the group at that point, but I was with them for about 2 years.
Okay.
And doing it, but in Chicago. But they moved out here and did the... Nation Improv in LA and kind of toured a little bit and all that, but I met Dave Carter and Ronnie Ray through the Nation of Improv.
Frederick Douglass.
Yeah. Another comic I've known for a long time, Dave Carter.
Yes. Yes.
And Ronnie Ray. And he's back in Chicago now, Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie moved back maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And so, yeah. And I think Dave is still out here doing his thing. But, yeah, man, everybody's had a nice... different degrees of success, but I met you literally at Dave and Ronnie Ray's apartment.
Right, I was living on their couch.
Right, yeah.
2000. That was 2004, 2005.
Yeah. I walked in and you were like, "Yo."
Yeah.
I said, "Put some clothes on."
Yeah. I was like,
you were like, "Hey, man, this is what I do."
You know, don't that. Hopefully, that will not reflect on Dave or Ronnie Ray, who
happens to us all. We all meet people that are living on someone's couch.
Yeah,
there's a little white man on our couch.
That's an LA thing, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of couch surfing.
No, there's every big city has couch surfing. Chicago had couch surfing. Houston definitely had couch surfing. Yeah. If you live in a big city and you're just trying to pay bills, you're going to surf a couple of couches.
And and if you're in the entertainment business, you would definitely.
Oh yeah,
you would do a lot.
So Al, you're from Houston.
Yes, Houston.
Getting
Texas.
into that nice smooth segue.
That is.
You're from Houston, and you started you've been doing stand up 18 years. You told me.
Yeah, and here I am. Actually, it's a pretty good place to be. It just, we always that sort of like self-loathing / self-pitying, like I should be somewhere else. The supposed is, but fuck it. I'm enjoying it, having a great fucking ride.
You've been out here for
almost 5 years now, so people think I'm a native, which is even weirder. So it's like, had somebody the other day said, "Hey Al, when do you think about leaving LA?" I just got here.
Yeah. The 5-year mark is when you become a native. I
People
believe.
Are saying, when are you going to leave LA? That's what somebody said.
Yeah,
to you?
Somebody asked, do I ever think of leaving LA?
Well,
I was
maybe they were thinking of leaving.
No,
LA.
because they're from LA is what it is, and we're doing a reaction video thing, which I'm still kind of working on right now. So we're just shooting some of it at the store, and then we're just kind of getting that done. Then afterwards, other than that, it was like, oh, he thought I was a native, so it's a nice feeling, It's like, it's just you see, if you've done comedy long enough, you can count on both hands, fingers, and toes people you've hung out with that are gone.
Yeah, literally and figuratively. Yeah, for sure.
That, you see so many people rise up, and you kind of like people who were really hot 10, 15, 20 years ago when you first started, all of a sudden they rise up really quickly, and then they're never heard from ever again. And then you see somebody else working in the background 10, 15 years later. What do you know? They got their own podcast. What do you know? They're showing up on TV.
Who was the guy at the store who you were telling me about on the way here, who was going to the guy who went in and started pointing to the pictures?
I'm not going to say his name because he might murder me. I know he's a short guy and he might murder me, but old school comic. Look,
Roman Polanski in Chinatown.
He's kind of Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski in Chinatown.
So basically, this old time would go to the headshots and point at and go, dead, 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 OD'd, car accident, dead.
Casting director. So what he's saying is that the guy wasn't saying I'm going to kill you.
He said they
He's saying this is where they've ended up. Right. One is a casting director, the agent. I think he pointed to one.
Yeah, agent.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know that there's a wall of people I started out with that I could go and do a catalog, do a census like that. Necessarily.
Yeah, I think we both kind of know the same people. The list is getting long now. Guys are really making it. In again, the digital era. I mean, you can do just about very little and still blow up now. You know what I mean? That's kind
very
of
true.
That's the catch-22.
Yeah,
there's more opportunity to get out there and do stuff, but then you can just you can literally just be making grilled cheese every night and something put a camera on and yo.
Yeah, but you still got to do the work, and you still got to learn how to just do those little clips and bleeps. And now, next thing you know, you have about 4 or 5 phones in front of you trying to switch from accounts, and it just gets. Yeah, I do other people's account stuff, and it just gets nuts.
This is our accounting comic.
Yeah,
Al Bahmani. He accounts for quite a bit of accounting.
I work for many masters, is what it is, while trying to work on these dick jokes.
Yeah.
Just trying to work on these socially work on this.
Dick jokes. It's
Al,
always a good dick joke.
It's got to be a great dick joke.
First of all, it's funny you say that. I don't even know any dick joke you tell. The only joke, can I repeat one of your jokes? Is that a good form of flat? Is that
Sure.
okay? This is an Al Bahmani joke. Is that okay? Are you sure?
It's okay.
Okay, this is an Al Bahmani joke. Ice-T's real name is Earl Grey. That doesn't make you laugh? To me, that's fucking hysterical.
That's
like, a very smart, funny. That's a head nod.
That's a head nod.
Yeah.
It's a head nod.
It's a head nod. Trying to be a head nod, not a head nod.
You know what's fucked up? That's a laugh out loud for me. I'm the only guy in the back of the room, like cackling loudly at that. To me, that
you
was.
can tell who real comedy nerds are at when laughing at that joke.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's the centerpiece, but you probably color that with some other.
Yeah, there's
setup.
other stuff.
There's other stuff that goes around, and then you can bang. Bang it with the Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got to get a little chai tea. You got to you got to play many flavors, many spices,
many drinks.
Yeah.
Many drinks. So
and you have to do it with the
drinks.
right audience too, because Ice-T's been around a while, and not everybody.
That's a very good point, actually.
You know what I mean?
Culture is now just fractured, is what it is.
I was with 2 millennials yesterday after this taping of this thing. I've been directing this podcast for this company.
Oh,
and,
you director. Okay.
Oh man, we got to take
Scorsese over here.
Scorsese. It's a tech company, man.
Oh well. Okay.
It's still a gig.
Thank you, though, Cordell. Yeah.
Right, of course.
And there were these 2 millennials, and I just assume everybody knows cultural references before 1990. And I mentioned the movie Transylvania 65000, which was one of my favorite movies.
That's
when I was a kid.
80s.
It's
obscure.
It's a B movie.
Hey, I don't know that movie.
It's a B movie.
Yeah, okay.
But it's one of the funniest horror comedies ever made.
Yeah.
And I still piss my pants. I watched it. Anyway, I'm telling them about it, and and Ed Begley Jr.'s in it, and I was explaining the movie to them, and I said, Goldblum plays a what Goldblum always plays. He plays a journalist who's been sent on a Frankenstein a Frankenstein story to Transylvania, and he's all upset because he can't. He doesn't want to be doing this. He's a serious journalist, and he doesn't want to be. And Ed Begley Jr. goes along with him, and Ed Begley Jr. is the exact opposite. He's a total marshmallow. The 2 millennials thought I meant literally he went as a marshmallow. That he was a literal. They didn't.
I kind of want to see that movie
They had
now.
They had never heard the term marshmallow to describe someone who's got no character.
Yeah.
Or just wants to be along for the ride,
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
and
that's a little out there.
That's a terrifying.
You just say the old guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Well, he's on Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it's
No, dude.
Begley.
We're getting now. That's even more obscure.
More obscure?
Because he's. I don't even remember seeing him on that show. So
And there's a dance DJ. His name is Marshmallow as well. So the millennials might be confusing him. This guy wears a marshmallow head. I know. Again, I'm in the dance music world, so I know this. So and the millennials love this dude.
I blame our Generation X.
Yes.
What you're saying is there are many different ways of that could have confused.
Right. If you're a
someone.
millennial, for sure, Marshmallow is currently a Vegas-style dance DJ, and he looks like an idiot wearing a marshmallow head as he spins records like a.
Actual records.
Oh, there's a little marshmallow, a little infield criticism going on here. A little bit of So,
but I get where you're coming from. But I'm just trying to dumb it down a little bit, just let you know where they come from.
I'm glad they didn't mistake it for that. They thought he was a real. So I think it's because of the animation. I think it's because those kids when they were growing up, everything was animated. So you could picture a person as a marshmallow. But I'm not old enough to have watched my animation for us was like Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
I'm like The Simpsons was my teenage years.
Right.
So I didn't have that formative. All my social commentary didn't come from cartoons.
There's also an entire generation of millennials that don't even know who the Simpsons are until they get Disney Plus. So a lot of it, because mostly they're consuming what they're streaming, and also you got the older generations that's not introducing it.
That's the thing.
How many
Al,
of us grew up with an uncle, an aunt, a parent, somebody that was cool, an older brother, an older sister that would introduce us, or an older woman, that would introduce us to music.
Why are they not being introduced to it? Because their parents are cunt, fuck, yuppies.
Or just cunt fucks, period. How about that? You don't have to be a yuppie to be a cunt fuck. You can just be a cunt fuck, or just not being willing to share what you like. Or it could be that the parents are so embarrassed to share what they like because it reminds them that they're growing older and that they're dying. We're all dying. That's because also children don't hang out with older people.
Let me point out how perfect
kids don't
this theme is
connect.
for the Pepitone podcast. That as he goes down this road of people dying,
you need to see death. You need to see people die. You need to look your morality straight into the eyes and learn some really cool shit that the shit that you like stole from. You gotta hang. That older dude hanging out the barber shop, or the older dude you just kind of talk to at the corner store.
Right.
They're going to the cousins. And it's usually the only I talked to one comic, Sean Hart. Dude's has a band. He does video editing, does everything. Yeah. And he was talking about, I never had somebody introduce me to stuff, but I did introduce the girl I fucked to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Well, I guess you're doing your part for the millennials. See, it's
what you're trying to say is this: what's happening now? People aren't.
They're not sharing.
They're not. Yeah, right. They're not digging deep enough and learning historically, and historically meaning maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Or Wikipedia search.
I'm not saying like the civil rights movement. I'm saying within the last couple decades, people aren't reaching out and trying to go beyond what they already know.
And nobody's really introduced.
They're not.
It's really profoundly true, though, what he said. They're not being introduced to it. Yeah. So if you grew up, I'm not. By the way, I want to make a caveat. I grew up in the 80s. I was a child of the 80s. Most of the kids I grew up with did not go back to the 60s and 70s for the shit that I went back for.
You had that older generation.
I had a couple of friends who went back, who genuinely were enamored with Pink Floyd and the music of the 60s and the cinema of the 70s. A couple of friends. Most of my friends were Reagan soul fuck cunts who ended up being sons and children of stockbrokers and and wanted to be sell real estate and shit. Most of them. So I don't want to glamorize my generation. They were a bunch of fucking idiots, but you had it it was accessible. You wanted to, for instance, when you were a kid, you grew up watching The Bad News Bears. That was a movie from the 70s. That was a way to go back to the 70s. Okay,
reruns.
Mel Brooks movies. Most kids grew up with that
because your parents showed you the Mel Brooks movies.
Exactly. And the 60s, your parents listened to the Beatles. Okay, your parents listened to.
I came from an Elvis family, but I see what you're saying. Sorry, you have Hey
man, but it's still it's the 60s.
Yeah, it's still the
early 60s. But so I had an interest in that. I had an interest in going back and discovering Woody Allen and discovering all this cool shit.
Right.
But the translation, man, from the Instagram generation, this comment board, because that's what the culture is. It's a comment board culture.
Yeah, it is.
And by the way, when this is the relationship I have. I have relationships with beautiful women, and the relationships I have with these beautiful women are: I meet a beautiful woman, and I think we connect.
On the surface, it feels like we're connecting.
I think we connect.
I know.
And she says, "Are you on Instagram?" And I say, "I am on Instagram." Yeah. And she says, "Well, here's my thing. You follow me." And so I do. And then I never talk to her again.
Right.
What happens is I am now in a purgatorial. I've been taken hold of as a purgatorial hostage to her life of softcore pornography that she has produced on Instagram, and which, by the way, is not the worst thing, right? But this is my...
Why? Is it directed by Scorsese? You know, is it like a long tracking Brian De Palma shot? You know? Sorry.
No, those are two fantastic directors, and
Scorsese, by the way, did direct a softcore pornography.
I'm sure he did. In his early years, of sure.
The first film he ever did, it's called
snuff
Who's
film,
That
probably?
Knocking? No, it's called
That's not-
Who's That? There
Who's
is
That Knocking at My
softcore. There's
Door, yeah.
definitely there's artful pornographic stuff in that. And by the way, I think he got the money from Italian pornography to make it. It's a feature that he made for
Really?
NYU as his thesis. And if you,
Took him a
Harvey
couple years to do
Keitel,
it, yeah.
Those are
Harvey
the early
Keitel.
years.
With
NYU,
Shoemaker, yeah.
Those are early years, right. You
And
do a
Even
lot
that
of
early,
stuff.
you saw his wiener.
There's a scene in that movie
Classic.
where Harvey Keitel is masturbating, but you don't see him masturbating. You see what's going on in his head, which is, by the way, fucking cool and brilliant.
Yeah.
And what it is it's different naked women that he has seen.
Yep.
And he's imagining in like almost a carousel of women.
Which is how men
with
do it.
full bush, by the way, full 60. This is 67, so it's
Right.
full bush.
That's how we do it.
That's
And
fine.
these beautiful
Thanks,
naked
dude.
women,
Right.
and he's with them. He's with all of them in bed, one after the other, and it's a circular shot, around and around, like hypnotizing, like making you dizzy.
I just don't
and
have that
then
stamina.
at the end, right at the end,
Yeah.
he's in a full three-piece suit, standing in the middle of the room, with one naked woman in front of him, and he's got a deck of cards in his hand, and he takes the deck of cards and he just flips it all out as a metaphor for ejaculation, and it's pornographic. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's for its time.
That's a damn good thesis film.
I thought the movie was
mean,
about
that's
Catholic
just
guilt,
off
but
that-
okay.
It
yeah.
was,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
like the best scene in the movie. That's
Yeah.
the most. You don't remember it?
No, I hadn't even heard of it. I didn't
It's
know
a,
that. but,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you've seen it?
I've
Okay.
seen it.
Oh, I
I've
haven't
seen
seen it. I hadn't.
It's-
But that captures what we go through when we're
Jacking off.
when
That's
we're
right.
pleasuring
That's
it.
exactly right.
40 years later, it still holds true. It
Absolutely.
definitely does, man. I can appreciate that.
You could see the genius of that guy.
I can appreciate the details of the masturbation.
The high art of
instigation,
masturbation.
The high art.
Power of
I mean, you know,
imagination,
it's
kids.
high level education right there. NYU,
Power
come
of
on, man.
imagination.
Higher education. But I want to wrap what you were saying about your generation, because I'm of your generation as well, and the difference is that you get introduced to it, and of course we went out and pursued that information, but I think when we got to college is when we really took off, and where the information, where we kind of like branched out and started learning about other cultures, reaching out, and actively trying to fill in the gaps, the gray area of maybe, because wherever you grew up, it was gray, it was gaps, and then you go to college and I don't know if that's happening now with this current.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
I think it's a loss of the tactile. It's a loss of the tactile. Like going like for some, like right now, vinyl has outsold digital sales as far as music.
Yeah.
And we are also the generation of the video store.
Yeah.
Okay.
VHS.
Yeah. And there's something about going there physically,
Owning something.
not
Right.
just owning it, but going to the store, looking at a movie box card. And looking at who's in it as opposed to just scrolling through Netflix. You can you'll spend more time scrolling through Netflix looking at movies before actually committing to one.
Well,
you
because
know.
there's so much shit on there.
Well, there's-
They also have to take that variable into
But there's
account.
always so much shit everywhere. The thing is that Netflix isn't Netflix. You're still going to have more of a selection at a
point, but you can't-
1990s Hollywood video.
Yeah, but you
versus
can't
Netflix.
immediately watch something at a 90s Hollywood video. You can't. You've got to.
Well,
you've
the
got to
immediacy but the definition of immediacy has changed. In the 80s, immediacy was right there on tape, is what it was. Tape had changed things because then you could it was pretty much pre-digital remix culture. Look at Videodrome by Cronenberg, because it was like a Videodrome was like a was an analog matrix. Cronenberg's a fuck.
That's a great movie, Videodrome. If you haven't seen that movie, it's basically a movie about James Woods. It stars James Woods in his prime before he became a Republican. And James Woods
And Debbie Harry.
James Woods gets a snuff VHS tape. Maybe it was beta. I mean, this is the early 80s.
Yes.
So it might have been even a beta tape. And he's a sensationalist. He's like a low rent Rupert Murdoch. He's like a guy he's like a yellow journalist type media guy. And he takes the tape and someone tells him, don't watch that. Someone tells him, don't watch that
Shortest
tape.
movie ever.
And he goes and he takes the tape and he puts it in the VHS player, the beta player, or whatever he's got.
Which turns into a vagina.
And what he watches basically absorbs him, but not right away. Over time, he's absorbed into what he watches. He actually starts transforming because of it. It's a gruesome, weird psychological horror film. Kind of a pre-David Lynch kind of thing.
Pre-Fly.
Yeah. It's fucking great. So anyway, thank you, Al. That's one of the reasons, Al, because Al and I have had these cinematic discussions.
I was gonna say you two are on another level of cinema. You're discussing shit that
Spent a shitload of time at the VHS
You know
store.
what?
This is
Lonely
beyond.
white people, Cordell. Lonely white people who don't know how to fuck. No offense, Al. I hate to cast that upon you.
Complexion
Al might
doesn't
be able
mean
to fuck.
protection.
Al might be able to fuck. I shouldn't
he's
put
from
that
Houston.
on Al.
People fuck a lot in Houston.
Yeah, they
People
do.
fuck a lot, yeah.
It's humid down there, and it's
And you
Well,
got to pay
humid,
bills.
humid is not good for fucking. Humid is the worst for fucking because women are already sticky all day.
Yeah, well.
So in order for them to want you to make them more sticky, they have
Cuffing
to have a
season,
really
folks.
good fucking
turn on the AC,
reason.
Turn on the AC and drop
AC?
them draws, baby. That's gonna be the name of my comedy album. Turn on the AC.
It's also a
and
good
drop
name
them
for
draws.
You know,
It's a good name for an R&B
You know,
single.
That's a better R&B.
That's a better R&B
That
single.
is a better R&B
Yeah,
single.
it is,
Me and R. Kelly from jail.
Seriously.
most of your AC is being, most of your R&B is being consumed in AC necessary southern states anyway, in tropical climates.
But let me not. I don't want to hate on this current generation. I want to say that I don't want people to come away thinking like,
you kids.
What I do like about this current generation is that they are out the womb. They are diverse in terms of living around and being around, going to school with different ethnicities, which
That's everywhere if you're in a city.
Well,
If
when
you're
we
in
were
a
coming up,
city-
it was very, I grew up in Ohio. You were Houston. You were on
Chicago
Florida,
and then Florida.
Right.
Yeah,
It was, and it's still like that a little bit. But I'm saying we are in an era now where kids are definitely, at an early age, are being exposed to different ethnicities, and so I like that because that will definitely propel them out of high school into college into the world.
I'm
with a
more
open
surprised by
mind.
people that weren't raised around other ethnicities.
Wow.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm more surprised about that because I grew up, with other ethnicities,
Well-
and they're called family. So it's just, everybody, like I have 3 immigrant parents.
Okay.
A stepmom, a dad, and my mom and my grandmother who raised me. So it's just like 3 immigrant parents technically, and each one is from a different country.
Okay.
So
I hear you.
Yeah, and so no matter what, I always went. No matter what, somebody's culture, somebody's home was a different culture. Whether I was at my uncle's or aunt's, or I was just going to school. Like my parents met at an HBCU back in Houston.
We have a very diverse show for you today. If you hadn't noticed that, at home, wherever you're at, work,
Funny,
diverse,
and even funnier.
ethnically ambiguous. Many, my black friend,
Yes.
my Arab,
Mexican
friend.
Yeah.
Man, we are getting diverse on Pep Talks.
It's like a Benetton ad.
Absolutely.
So right here. You know what I mean?
It changes because Texas you have a huge Vietnamese population, you got an Indian population,
Yeah.
because everybody
Right.
needs oil.
But that's right, and that's what I'm saying. Is that being in Texas, definitely, probably at any
large
at
city
any
you're
decade,
going to and it's just I think what it is that this generation has realized, oh yeah, people from other ethnicities are fucking is what it is. And it's and the folks at Charlottesville, they're like, oh, you will not replace us. That's not how genetic works. Racists that hate fucking race mixing don't understand how good soup works. You come in with all the different ingredients is what it is, and he makes a stronger soup. You can't turn back the clock on immigration. You can't turn back the clock on people. It's just, I think with this newer generation, they're admitting that, they're willing to admit that, oh yeah, we can't separate ourselves up from the different cultures is what it is.
The soup metaphor could be very good on stage, Al. I just want to point that out.
And
for you.
delicious too.
Yeah. I like the soup metaphor.
I mean, tomato soup with some grilled cheese. So. Or
Some
chicken
corn.
noodle soup if you're feeling a little bit under the weather.
Yeah.
Broccoli and
Tortilla
cheese.
soup if
Tortilla
you're feeling
soup.
really ethnic.
Caldo de res. Soup of kings. with some tortillas, some
Pea
rice.
soup if you're feeling white.
Pea soup is probably the worst soup.
Oh God, that's such dick.
Pea soup is
I have a
absolutely
friend.
disgusting.
It's pretty
It's
bad.
horrible.
It's pretty bad. But
it's
do you
bad.
know somebody who really likes pea? Because I know somebody who actually physically took me to a different geographic area, meaning
Yeah.
a long way,
Right.
to have a famous pea soup once.
No, I've never
and
heard
I never
anybody
had
say
Was
the
it from The
strength-
Exorcist?
No, I've never heard
Thank you,
anybody
Al,
say.
for taking it there. Nice. And Al knocks over the cup, too. That's the kind of show you're going to get here. I don't want you to think, if you keep your expectations low, you will never be disappointed, Pep Talks Podcast. This person took me out. And by the way, this is how I know I have major paranoia about confronting people about things, because I never wanted to. I never wanted to hurt this person's feelings and tell them how much I hated this fucking pea soup, and how
was that
I had
bad?
brought my expectations so high. We're going to blah 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 to have the famous pea soup, and I just you know.
I get it, because I'm a people pleaser too, and it's hard for me to tell somebody like, wow, you know what, that's probably not what I want to do. But when it comes to pea soup, you have to draw a line.
Do you have any tips?
You have to draw a
Either
line.
of you guys, do you have any tips
Yeah.
or wisdom
Yeah.
that you can share with us about the velvet covered iron hand, dealing with people who you might feel are too fragile, and you might break them with a constructive criticism? Do you have any wisdom or
Break them early.
Thank you. Break them early. That's one.
So you're
Hey,
saying just
I'm not
out the gate.
against
Break
that.
them early. Tell them there are 2 rules in LA. Rule number 1, nobody cares. Rule number 2, everything happens to a reason, and that reason is because fuck you, that's why.
Cordell.
Well, it's hard to follow that one. I think you just basically have to look the person in the eye at some point and say, I've tried. I went with you on a few of these excursions, but now we're at pea soup. And I
You got to
can't do
really
pea-
like
Okay.
them.
I can't do pea soup. I'm gonna tell you now, friend. We did cow tongue. Ate. I don't know.
Cow tongue's good.
Yeah, and we tried squirrel booty or whatever.
Squirrel booty's decent if you have enough spices, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
now we're at pea soup.
Okay, I see. So
And this is the conversation. And you look at the person and say, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna walk away from you, and you're gonna go have your own pea soup, and I'm gonna go to Chipotle.
Okay. So to counterpoint and balance this all out,
Yes.
My way would be, and I'm really just deciding this as I'm hearing your opinions.
Yeah.
Don't call the person. Just don't stop talking to them. Just don't even communicate.
Cut it
Almost
off.
like when you're dealing with a woman who really wants to sleep with you, which doesn't happen often, by the way. But it's gonna turn into something more serious, and you're gonna hurt her.
Right.
You just, one of the wisdoms that has been shared with me that has worked is you just don't call them. You don't communicate.
You cut it off.
You become a chicken
You
shit.
just
So
pull the Band-Aid, cut it
So I'm going to counterbalance out his strength.
Yeah.
And your sort of middle ground, and my complete cowardly chicken shit.
Yeah.
Right. So we have 3 different sources of wisdom. If you're ever dealing with somebody who, I have a friend who, some things that this person has shared with me are brilliant, amazing stuff. But I'd say about 75% of the time this person is sharing stuff with me out of love, because they want me to.
Of course.
So I already am in gratitude that someone loves me that much. They want to share stuff with me. But sometimes this person shares stuff with me, and one of those things was pea soup. But that is on the minor end of the.
Oh, really? Wow. It goes.
Yeah,
above
and I
pea
had to
soup.
confront. We had a little hilarious conversation where I liked something, and this person didn't, and it was the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Which
and the
one?
Quentin Tarantino movie that just came out, and this person hated it so much. And
It was
I
average.
know, I understand hating something that much.
Yeah.
By the way, where you can rationalize you will destroy everything about it because you hate it so much, and you cannot see one good thing about it. And I'd say, well, it wasn't my favorite movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And this person just was like mortified by that, and then I unloaded. I go, you like fucking Adam Sandler movies, and I never said it. I went into all the details. You watched The Office on NBC and thought that shit was funny. You
Ripped the
you
Band-Aid out early.
evangelized. It wasn't. It was late. It was late. This is very late in the game. It wasn't early, Al. I should have taken
down
the
the road.
advice.
Should have done it
very
early on.
I know.
Early on, if there's a basis for friendship early on, so you know you can hang.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. You can't hang out with everybody. You can't like everybody, no matter how much you try.
Right.
You know, there's give and
categories.
take.
So the larger wisdom is here,
Categories.
people. Try all of this advice and find out what works for you, because all these things might not work, but you might find one that does. And so try to use your own instincts and you know,
Just
follow
put friends
your
in
own
I put
follow
friends
your
in-
own intuition.
Just put friends in categories. I know it's very harsh to say that, but not everybody can be treated the same. You
Not
know?
everybody can
Yeah.
have friends
Just
to
like-
put in categories.
Well, yeah. Some people don't have friends, and if you don't have
Exactly.
friends, then hey, I'm sorry.
How many of us have them?
You know, just keep watching porn. But you put your friends in categories, and then you just treat them accordingly. You know what I
People
mean?
with friends watch porn. That might be a good title for a comedy special.
Or a
You know what?
podcast.
That would.
People with friends watching porn.
And it would be the number one
Wouldn't that-
rated podcast.
Eddie Pepitone,
Anything
Sam
with
Tripoli.
sex.
and Steve
People with
Ollie.
friends watch porn. That's what our title of our show should have been. Which, by the way, leads me into Cordell wants to talk about. You know, Eddie and I have a show that just came out
Yeah.
called Comedians Without Cars Getting Soda, which has the same rhythmic feeling as People with Friends Watch Porn.
It does.
but isn't as good of a title. Comedians Without Cars Getting Soda just
Yeah,
came out.
it
It's
did.
on YouTube. It was watched has been watched 20,000 times in
Yep.
less than a week. It's the most watched thing I've ever done. It's an honor to have co-created the show with Eddie and this amazing show, which, by the way, thank you All Things Comedy for producing this show.
Entertaining. It's very entertaining.
it's-
Thank you, Refresca.
Refresca, which is the fake soda that I made up for this show, and there will be another fake soda in the next show. But Cordell wanted to give us some feedback on the show that we were talking about on the couch on the back.
Yeah, pre-show. You know what I love about it is just out the gate, there was a rogue feel because you guys were on these scooters. You know, streets weren't blocked off. You didn't get any permits. You guys just said, "Fuck it, man. We're rolling through the streets."
Okay, by the way, I
talking."
will not confirm nor deny any of what he just said.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to blow the cover.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
really know if that's true. That may very well not be true.
They're trying to do it again.
Go on,
That's
Cordell.
true. That's true.
Go on.
I don't want to blow your cover, but what I was trying to get to was the fact that I love that just you're out there. You're in the
You
element.
love the gorilla feeling.
Yeah, you're in the elements. You're just
Yeah.
rolling through potholes and Eddie's falling down.
Yeah, that wasn't planned.
Which is, hey, when it's not planned, it's great. He separated 3 ribs, but for the show.
Power
He said,
dive.
"Fuck
The
it."
funniest part.
Pep said,
the
"Fuck it," for the
funniest
show.
part is we're
Yeah.
getting ready to shoot the next show.
Yeah.
By the way, he was really worried that he was hurt from that, and of
course.
and he went to the doctor, who told him you probably just strained a muscle and you'll be okay.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know he went to the doctor for that.
He went to the doctor out of fear and paranoia. But
okay,
I think
okay.
he was just, concerned, but he was fine.
Right.
But it took a while for it to heal.
Yeah.
And, you're not 20.
Right.
And you're falling off a scooter that's, like a 13-year-old. And anyway,
He took one for the team.
he took a header. And so then that was touch and go. We didn't know
the next one on
if
a
he was going to
scooter?
go. So then he says like 2 weeks after, he goes, should I fall off should I fall? I go, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't. At first I was like, because he's going to do Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
He's going to be Chevy Chase in
Right.
Saturday Night Live,
Of course.
Or he can do the next one from a wheelchair.
Thanks, Al.
Or you could just keep showing that one at the very end after the credits. Just him falling down every episode.
Man.
just as a
We
button.
could get a stunt double. That's been suggested.
Yeah, that worked. But
So-
they left you too. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I love that the fact that they.
That may have. I don't know if that was planned or not.
yeah.
I honestly
With the scooters
don't.
or
It may
the-
have been planned.
They left him behind. They left Steve behind.
Well,
The
you
power
can't,
ran out
you
on the
can't really
line.
tell if that Eddie kept going and Sam was with me for a while.
Yes.
And I was I think maybe that they set that up because they got to create some drama and everything. But I don't mind being the fall guy, no pun intended.
of course.
And Eddie, Eddie gave us
the
a
feel.
bigger punchline than the thing falling off. So this is a perfect time for an ad. We have incredible sponsors who, as you know, Pep Talks, we haven't seen any money from. But today, we're telling you that face bags are ethically sourced leather bags with a story to tell. That's right. Face bag designers turn materials that would otherwise end up in a landfill into gorgeous accessories. Every material face bags used has been something else in its previous life. This means reducing waste, the carbon footprint, and the need for virgin materials and natural resources. Face Bags strives to deliver the best quality upcycled luxury handbags and clutches to direct to you from an animal face-scraping prison in Beijing. Everyone knows the face is where the personality is, and face bags are full of personality. When you look into the frozen screaming maw on one of the face bags fashion accessories, they seem to say, "You're next." Enjoy a face bag accessory of stitched-together faces from shrieking animals forming a quilt work of terror so nightmarish you'd have to be a soulless monster to own one. Now available at Nordstrom's. Well,
I'm there.
people,
Special code Red Rum for discount.
thank you, Al. Al with the tags today. We're getting toward the end. Emma, where are we at, would you say?
We're at 55 minutes.
Okay, so we're getting toward the end, and I want to ask you guys, because we want to plug stuff. We want to talk about you guys, what you're up to, what you're doing, where are you going to be performing, what are you going to be doing. Doesn't really matter if it's stand-up. Whatever you are doing that you want to direct the 5,000 plus people we have every week to your work or whatever you're doing. We'll start with you, brother.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You this weekend on the 16th, I'll be in downtown LA doing an after hours DJ gig. So you can go to my Instagram DJ page. That my handle is Pace the DJ, PACETHE DJ, Pace the DJ. All the information is there if you want to come out and dance deep into the night this Saturday the 16th. You can also follow me on Twitter at Pace the DJ, same handle. On the comedy side, my handle is Create Pace, CREATEPACE. That's on Twitter and also on Instagram. I'm just getting the Instagram page up for Create Pace for the comedy, so it's not much there. It'll be more in a couple weeks, but the Twitter account's been going for a while. So those are the both sides of my artistic endeavors, Create Pace and Pace the DJ. Bam, check a brother out.
Al Bahmani.
You can catch me at Pace the Picante Sauce.
Oh, man.
I love it.
It's so good.
PACE.
The Picante Sauce.
The Picante.
These are the kind of jokes you get at Pep Talks.
I
Unplanned and low level.
I write tags for Argus Hamilton at the Comedy Store
Oh, that's
on Tuesdays.
That is a flagrant foul of an endorsement.
I'm sorry. I write tags. I write tags every week for Argus Hamilton at the Comedy Store tonight. I'm also at the Comedy Dojo tonight. Doing a show at the Dojo of Comedy. Got another couple of shows. Just come in and pop out. I also help out with the podcast Fantasy House at Fantasy House Podcast, the only imaginary real estate podcast with John Shefsky. And then I help out behind the scenes on a couple of true crime podcasts and a whole website, albegood.com, or online at albahmani, BAHMANI.
He also performs regularly at the Comedy Dojo. Mm-hmm. Did you say that?
Yeah, Comedy Dojo, and I'm around the
Al's
city.
doing it, Brett.
Al's back.
Al's everywhere.
Paying bills.
Don't
trying to stay
judge
alive.
Al from his spontaneous
Al's
tags.
doing it, man.
On the
They're
show
horrible.
today.
Horrible
They're horrible,
person.
but you're lovable, and that's what matters.
Yay.
I am Stephen Lally. I write for Eddie Pepitone, and we have a show on YouTube. If I haven't stressed this, it's called Comedians Without Cars Getting Soda. Mm-hmm. Go on YouTube. Find it. Please find it and share it with your friends. Share it with
Share it.
5 or 10 friends. Put it on your wall on Facebook.
Strangers.
On your Instagram.
Homeless.
Send it to the IRS.
Yes.
Send it to
FEMA.
send it to your favorite person at the parking enforcement.
Instead of a dick pic, send them Comedians Without Cars
Impeachment
Getting...
hearing. Send it there.
Send it to friends, people who have friends who like porn.
Slide it in the DMs.
Like, what was
Slide
it?
in there.
People who have friends.
Watching porn.
Watching porn, right?
No.
People with friends
who
watching
have friends watch porn.
Right. A great title for a podcast.
Matt, whatever we
With
originally
chili.
said, please make that the title of this podcast.
Of course.
That was great.
It would shoot up the charts, number one.
Such a show, people. Such
And
a
Eddie
show.
has great legs in that. I wanted to mention that. His pale legs in that episode is beautiful.
They're
And
like
Eddie,
drumsticks.
Eddie, with your shorts and your legs, man, those
like
calves.
They're like
love
uncooked
it.
drumsticks is
Yeah.
what they are.
I
They belong
wanted
in
to say that.
soup is what it is. That's how...
Continue to not get any sun, Pep. That
Yeah.
is, they're
Eddie-
All it's missing is matzo balls
on
and some
behalf
carrots.
of Eddie Pepitone.
Yeah.
Please hurry back so we don't have to hear any of these physical descriptions of you on the podcast.
It's a great episode. Watch it.
Oh my, what a show.
It's like
Normally,
chicken.
you don't get so much value for 1 hour, but on this fucking show, you get some goddamn respect. Press like because you appreciate the hell out of this extravaganza. Subscribe because you know you don't deserve what you just got. But we both know.
You deserved it.
You needed this. Write a review because you love the show more than your own children, which is not saying much. Place that review on your mantle so everyone who comes into your house knows you have really good taste. Go to peptalkspodcast.com and donate. peptalkspodcast.com. Hit the donate button. We need to get paid.
Money.
Give us your money. We need your money. Everyone has a third mortgage. You'll figure it out.
Or send us some
Our
Twinkies.
engineers today are Emma Erdbrink and Aaron Brungardt. Our producer is Matt Rasamoto, who wrote that great ad.
Big Matt,
Leave us a
Emma.
message, 424-262-0904. Send us an email, fanmail at peptalkspodcast.com. Donate to us, peptalkspodcast.com. On
Donate.
behalf of Eddie Pepitone, the great legendary Eddie Pepitone,
Donate.
I'm Stephen Lawley. Until next week, signing off. You guys have a great week. Stay alive, people.
Bye.
Peace.